farms in Texas shut down because nearly 100% of workers disappeared overnight.
Multiple farms are shutting down due to lack of workers because the entire workforce has basically fled and is in hiding and not showing up for work. Crops are being left to die in the Texas heat. Livestock is being untended to, unwatered, and unfed. There's just no one to do the work. So this is going to lead to potential food shortages because I'm sure this is happening across the country. Most farm workers are questionably documented. No one else is willing to do the work. This is going to lead to shortages, and inflation is going to go back up as we're going to have to import food from outside.
Texas, the land of cattle, corn, cotton, and hardworking people, is now watching its farms shut down overnight. Why? Because there's no one left to work. Not one, not two. Entire workforces gone. And we are not talking about machines breaking down or a bad harvest. We are talking about a 100% disappearance of the workforce in some areas, the backbone of farm labor in Texas. The very people who fed the state and the entire nation are no longer showing up. And you might want to ask why. And this is because most of these workers were undocumented immigrants, and some have already been deported, others they're hiding, too afraid to step outside and too afraid to show up for work, knowing that one wrong move could mean losing everything. And this is more than just a labor issue. This is about food. If no one's milking the cows, there's no dairy. If no one's picking the crops, there are no fruits or vegetables. And if no one's feeding the livestock, then the meat industry grinds to a halt.
So Texas farmers are losing their farm, and because their workforce, which consists of illegal immigrants, aren't working. I don't care. And majority of us with hearts and brains and knew what this man was going to do and what it was going to cost people, including you Texas farmers, yet we don't care. You hated people so much, even your own workforce, so much that you voted for this man and went against your own self-interest. And I don't feel sorry for people who continuously do that. And that is majority of us is at the bottom. Majority of us are at the bottom. We are not the 1%. We are not the billionaire class. We are the working poor. All of us basically are the working poor. And you voted against your own self-interest because of your hate. And you thought that, black people was going to come and work at these farms? No, shove that idea up your ass. And I'm being very serious. And I'm saying that in the nicest way as possible, as I can. It's not going to happen. You voted against your own workforce. Immigrants are the backbone of this United States of America. And you allowed this man to do all of this. You voted for this. So you guys can lose your farms, lose your equipment, lose everything, especially your land. So these billionaires can come up and buy your land for pennies on the dollar. This is what you get for voting for your hate. Your ignorance couldn't allow you to vote for someone amply qualified for the job. And now you got a set of people that is in this administration that is DEI hires, not qualified at all in any way for the jobs they are placed in. And it's costing you everything.
Farms in deep red Texas are shut down, and Donald Trump is the reason. Now, as you know, Donald Trump has shifted ICE from focusing on criminal immigrants to going after easier targets such as job sites to pump his numbers up. But farms are hurting because of this, as many of their workers are either being deported or not showing up for fear of being caught up in these raids. And because of this, they're essentially shut down and no work can be done.
Now, all of this leads to one thing, and that is inflation. Yes, food is already expensive, but it's about to get a lot worse because the supply chain is cracking at its most fragile point. The laborers who were already invincible to most Americans, now they are gone. Everyone's noticing. And when local farms can't produce, guess what happens? America start importing food, and imported food means higher price, longer wait times, and less control over what ends up on your plate. Well, this is the exact opposite of food security. And the ironical part is, even farmers who once supported these harsh immigration policies are now sounding the alarm. They can't feed their cattle, they can't harvest their land, they can't even hire replacements because no one wants to do this kind of labor. And one Texas farmer said, "I've been here for 30 years. I've never seen the land so ready and nobody to work it." Well, this is not just a Texas problem. This is Americans' food system falling apart in real time. And let's be clear, this labor wasn't stolen from Americans. These jobs have been open for years, but most Americans aren't willing to do them.
It's Joe from Georgia, so this is news out of Texas. But folks, these are alarm bells ringing for the entire United States, and our government is not listening. Overnight, multiple farms in the state of Texas completely shut down. And the reason for this shutdown was because they have lost almost 100% of their workforce. Now, we know this is the result of the immigration raids and stricter enforcement, but the ripple effect is going to be felt all the way across this country. Now, you've got crops that are rotting in the fields. You have livestock that is not being attended to at all. And that takes a lot of personnel. And we're talking, so now we're getting every area of food to include meat. And the communities that surround these farms, those businesses and those people who depend on the income from these farms, it's creating disasters for small communities in Texas. Now, this is not stopping at Texas farms. This is going to end up all the way across America, especially in the breadbasket, the middle of the nation, because they have tons of immigrant help.
Hispanic workers are not showing up in the fields due to what? ICE raids. And I was glad to see ICE is in Texas. I mean, the raids are at such a level. Farms are just shutting down at a really high level. Being in California, I was glad to see we're not alone in this area. The reality of this impact financially going forward is huge. I did a series of videos a long time ago. The impact this is going to have longer term on our economy, it's horrendous. You know, we have Trump, while campaigning, saying just going after hardened criminals. Well, we saw how that played out. He lied to us. He deceived us. And going after any and everybody brown skin. Here recently, he was going to give a bit of reprieve. That lasted for what, 5 days? And then again, we have here, what, in Oxnard, them chasing after Hispanic workers. We're going after people with brown skin. When you take out Hispanic folks, these laborers, and the hotel industry, construction, the restaurant, farming, etc., from an economic standpoint, that's going to be a disaster. Crops don't pick themselves. Dishes don't clean themselves.
Alright, now let's talk about what we just watched, because honestly, this is wild. The very same people, the same farmers, the same small town business owners, the same voters who pushed for stricter immigration policies are now the loudest ones crying out because their farms are collapsing. But hold up, didn't you all vote for this? You voted for the system that brought all of these down. You supported the policies that targeted undocumented workers. You stood by, some even cheered when ICE raided homes, farms, and and factories, and now you're shocked that there's no one left to pick your crops, milk your cows, or feed your cattle? Come on now. And let's be real, a lot of these farmers thought they were voting for a better America, but in the process, they voted out of the very people keeping their farms alive. And what's even messier is that some of them admitted they thought Black Americans would just step in and take these jobs once the immigrants were gone. That's not how any of this works. So guys, let's talk about the truth, because undocumented immigrants have also been holding the American economy together, and not just in agriculture, but in hospitality, construction, cleaning, food services, you name it. They've been doing the hard, dirty, back-breaking work that keeps America running, and yet they were treated as disposable. Now look, with them gone, the system is breaking down. You have crops rotting in the fields, dairy cows not being milked, meat processing plants shutting down, and what's coming next? Inflation. Yup, prices are already rising, and they are going to keep rising, because without labor, there's no production. Without production, there's scarcity, and with scarcity comes cost. So when I see these same people, the ones who chanted build the wall, now asking, why is milk so expensive? Why is my grocery bill double? Why are we importing fruits from other countries? I don't even know what to say anymore, because you voted for this. This is the system you chose, and people try to warn you over and over, but you thought you were making a point. You thought you were protecting American jobs. You thought it wouldn't touch your world. Well, now it has. And look, this isn't just to mock anyone's pain. People are hurting, and that's real. But it's also a consequence. You can't vote based on hate or fear or selfishness and then be surprised when that same energy comes back around. And what we are seeing now is the result of short-sighted decisions, of selfish votes, of believing you could benefit while others suffered and not expecting it to affect you too. But now it's affecting everyone. So guys, what do you think about this entire topic? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and let's have this discussion. And before you go, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories just like this here on Trending Pulse Worldwide. Thank you so much for sticking around, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.